before we get into this video, I want to let everybody know that this might be some darker topics than normally and maybe some sensitive subjects. So if you have a problem with that, then you might want to pause this and pick something else. But anyways, we back. It's your boy. It's been a minute again. I've been plotting on some videos as always, but I wanted to do this one because I had some like thoughts and different things I wanted to kind of like get into and talk about. It's been a lot of little different life scenarios that have been piquing my interest. One of my biggest things is I've been thinking about the phrase nature versus nurture, and it's a lot of people that I think don't understand what that concept means, because when you have to really think about what those like two words mean as like a human, like you don't think about having to eat, but you do think about what tastes good, what might make you feel better if you eat it. And I think that thought process applies to a lot of a lot of life and a lot of different things, like how you deal with people and how you handle like work situations and life and your lifestyle and the people around you. And I've noticed myself personally, like it's been really hard to get myself out of the nature mode, because I'm always kind of thinking like about my next move and like what's gonna get me to the next step or the next process. And I neglect taking care of myself. I don't take off work enough, or I don't like go out and have enough fun, or little small stuff like that. And I always wonder if other people kind of like really break that down, like, or do they just kind of like let it go, like, and it's just like like, unconscious thoughts. And yeah, I kind of want to get like more people's feedback on that. Honestly, I want to like start talking about that more, because I think it's a healthy thought process to kind of really get into. And I think it's really healthy to kind of know the difference between that, because if you don't, then you kind of missing out on like actually like taking care of yourself. And self-care is always the utmost importance. And most importantly, like, I think it goes into how you handle other people. If you're in a position of nature or nurture, because sometimes you might even be around people for the sake of survival. It might be somebody you're in a relationship with, that you live with, and you really can't move out right away, or you might be like family where you don't want to deal with them, but you might be in a situation where you need them. And that can create, I think, like a really, really toxic like mindset, because you don't know how to get away from it. Um, so yeah, let's like and comment, comment on that in the comments, and let's talk about that. Another thing I've been thinking about is the phrase "check on your strong friends." Like, I don't necessarily like that phrase anymore, because I think it's kind of insulting, and it's also like condescending. Like, to be a strong friend, which I think I'm usually like kind of classified as that, to me means that you are just completely unaware of that person also goes through pain and also goes through like trials and tribulations, and they hurt too. And to say check on your strong friend, as if like you had to like have that thought process, like if you think that person's strong, would you not assume that they go through more, I don't know, like more situations, or like they deal with more than the average person? So like, why would you not think, like, I don't know, like I feel like the strong friend is a way to like kind of normalize a person who can deal with like pain and problems, and that's not really, to me, healthy. Like, because being a strong friend, like me personally, like I said, me personally, I feel like people often think, because I handle crisis situations like pretty well, and I handle like just annoyances or problems with like kind of like swiftly, and I don't think people often think about like sometimes that shit hurts and it sucks, and whether I get through with it or not, or figure it out, I still come home and like lay in bed for a little while and just think about it. Like sometimes I might even like cry about it, because there are things that like just suck. People are kind of shitty, or work can be shitty, life can be shitty. People can be going through something that could hurt just watching them go through that. And I don't think I necessarily really have dealt with how it feels to be the strong friend, because sometimes like I feel like I'm the weak friend because there are a lot of days where I come home and I don't like me. I don't like the way I feel. I don't like the way life is, and it makes me really depressed. And it often brings up like really dark thoughts. And I've struggled with like suicidal thoughts since I was 14 or 15. And a lot of the time, I think those thoughts are always there. But one of the things that brings it out of me is like people not appreciating me or not understanding that I'm like not super perfect because however people might think I am on myself or I am with them, I am twice as hard on myself all the time, every time, if not three times as hard. And sometimes it gets like really frustrating to think about. Like people don't even consider that, and I get really, really, really annoyed with it because I deal with anxiety and depression, and I also have made a lot of mistakes in life, so I have to work a lot, and I've had to work a lot just to like kind of dig myself out of that hole and rebuild my life basically, and like get myself back in a position where I can actually now make moves and do things and have options and choices. And I know people don't like necessarily understand that entire process, but it's really, really frustrating that I feel like people close to me don't always see how hard that was and how much like it took a lot out of me, and it was exhausting. It's still exhausting, and being emotionally exhausted just will break you all the way down to the core, and it hurts even more when people don't even like acknowledge it. Like people were supposed to know like what you've done, like they just don't care, and that's something that I personally have to keep working on because I usually kind of create like bitterness in my own head without even like talking to people or having a conversation. It's weird, super weird. And then like even right now, like my job as a bartender is a job that kind of requires me to be like socially active and acceptable and like making people laugh and keeping them feeling like we're friends and all this stuff, and that's super draining. And I'm an introverted person, like more often than not, and it's really draining. And to go through all this stuff while going to a job like that, and I work in a predominantly white city in a very predominantly white place, I'm not necessarily always feeling like I'm in a space where, as a black man, I can be like vulnerable and comfortable talking about how I feel about stuff. Which is, really glad I have this outlet to kind of use because it's not something I get to really like say out loud. Yeah, I deal with things at work and people at work and like friends and stuff, and it gets really hard to try to like be prideful and strong and confident and ambitious while also being aware that people are actively hurting you or actively like disregarding how you feel about stuff, and you kind of have to pick and choose one or the other. Like it's rough because like you really can't like be pridefully depressed, and it's kind of shitty. All right, sorry about that technical difficulties. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Yeah, being a strong friend sucks, and strong niggas be sad too, and you should really kind of check the inventory on that. If you are a strong friend, let the people know. If you feel like you're the person kind of holding it down for people, like you should be more than comfortable expressing that they need to be there for you too, just like you are for them. And if they not there for you, sometimes they just won't get it and they not going to accept that. And you got to make the hard choices. Got to cut those people out. Um, it's also like it's really important to like express how you feel and not bottle that up. Because when you I'm talking to myself for real. Because when you hold it in, it eats you alive. It'll make you implode. It'll make you feel like you don't have people there for you when you do. It'll make you feel like everybody's kind of against you, and that's a rough thought process to kind of go through because it really will break you down. Um, and in the same token, when you're trying to like make progress in life and like like climb those steps and like really like find yourself and keep going, it gets really hard for you to express like emotional feelings when I just want to get this done. I just want to get that done. I just want to like keep doing this, or I got to get this car, or pay this bill. Or like when you start tasking, listing yourself, you might achieve these goals, but at what cost? And I had to kind of learn that lesson. Like, at what cost was I willing to, you know, or was I willing to lose to like keep gaining like success and growing things? And for a long time in my life, I never really had much to lose, and like I'm getting to a place now where I do, and it's kind of terrifying. Like it's weird to like actually have something that you are not willing to lose. And I've had different times in life where I've dropped back to zero, and I've worked my way back up. But for one, like I'm like trying to create stability and not have that anymore. But I'm also like just because I'm older now. I don't want to go through that process of losing everything because I was self destructive, or I let people be destructive around me. And more often than not, it's always been other people because like I'm a person who like cares about people and I want to help them and take care of people I love and make sure they good. Like I don't need shit. I'm a simple man, but if the people around me good, I'm great. And I put a lot of that into like how I live, like how I like chase goals and dreams, and that will often lead to disappointment if you're not willing to check yourself and those people, like to be honest with them, like know if you got good people around or people who actually care about you. And you'll often see some of those people will 100% be around you and they will let you do everything in the world for them. And the moment you kind of do stuff for yourself, you will see them flip and you will see them turn bitter and mean and angry towards you, and they'll make you feel like you did something wrong for taking care of yourself. And it often will lead to you feeling like it's your fault, and it's not. Um, these are just some rants and ramblings I've been thinking about, and I like want to keep expanding all these kind of conversations because I feel like it's healthiest to get that out. I want most importantly, like if other black men watch this, like just learn how to express your emotions and like say things because it's really rough as a black person in America, period. But on the emotional level, it's really hard for men in general, and then really hard for black men because we don't get that that leash to be emotionally irrational or just not thinking logically. And if you do act like that, you get a lot of negative connotations, or you're just angry, or you're hostile, or just all these little stupid things that don't really matter. Being openly honest about your emotions will make you always a much better person. It'll always make you just feel, at least make you feel better, which is always should be number one goal. Because if you're not good, nothing else after you can be good. But off of that weird, deep conversation, there's a lot of we almost to the weird point of where we might get some good weather, and as soon as you get that, you get a massive, stupid snowstorm. Love Michigan, is great. Basketball is really starting to come down to the madness. You see the boys in green, the Celtics, they are breaking my heart as always, but they're still number 2 in the East. They're good to go. They keep losing to bad teams. I'm watching y'all. Don't do this to me again. I'm calling it now. They will make it to the finals, and they will probably win. See, I'm not that confident in saying that, so I'm scared. They should win. They're the best team in the league. Most def. Injuries are always a pain in the ass. The Bucks are also looking kind of scary, and Giannis is a freak of nature. But keep your eye out for the boys in green. Not the Bucks, fuck them, because they got the whack green. We talking about them C's, them Celtics. Jason Tatum's being the waffle skin warrior he's always is, and kind of choking in the light. But I'm sure he'll get it together by the time June comes around. Other than that, random question, and this is one of the ones I want y'all to actually answer to. I've often asked other men, like, how do they feel comfortable if they not in a position in life that is at least stable, or they're doing good, or that they got their shit together. How do they feel comfortable, like, chasing women and, like, having sex and, like, being around, like, girls where yo shit ain't together, bro? Like, you ain't got nothing together and you worried about some pussy. Like, I really hate seeing grown men do that. It's like secondhand embarrassment. I've done it as a younger man, and I felt embarrassed then because I was like, man, like I'm worried about the wrong shit. And I really want to know, like, how do you feel comfortable being like a burden and you getting some ass? Like that's crazy. I also want to know, like women, like why do y'all allow that? Do you know that's what it is? Like, is it because you think you could like be there for them and make them better, or is it because like you don't necessarily always care? Or I know it's a lot of gray area and like nuance to this, but I just don't see how people get stuck with people who don't have their shit together like so often when you definitely can see it. Like there's not this complete like blinders on to all these things. Like if somebody looks like a not beneficial person to my life, I'm definitely about to keep them around. And damn sure not gonna have them like in my personal space, sleeping next to me and waking up next to me all the time where they shit fucked up because then they gonna fuck up your shit too. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Gotta keep all that shit out the door immediately. But like and comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at lee.slit. Uh, Drop some answers to some of these questions in there. Thanks for checking back in. It's your boy Slit, and we out.